Hey guys, Darkovika here. I wanted to talk today about a problem that I have had for probably a really long time, and it's something that I have struggled to resolve for a very long time, and I am working on it once again. I think I may have at least one other video on my channel talking about social media and trying to remove it, obviously to limited success, but this time I'm hoping to have a more permanent solution. What is my problem with social media? Social media is very addictive. And I think that there are a lot of overarching problems with social media that people are talking about, but the majority are not listening to or just are not privy to, because why would social media want you to see those things? No social media is going to advertise content that says social media is bad. Or it could, and that's just part of the addiction, is you're just watching stuff on social media about why social media is bad, but you don't quit social media. That seems like the greatest irony, but also the greatest example for why social media is bad, because I'm sure that's a thing. Me personally, I am addicted to social media. I lived on Twitter. Literally just, that was my life, was being on Twitter. I was obsessed with it. For me, social media was an escape. It was not a good escape, but we'll get to that. Social media was an escape. I would get overwhelmed by all of the projects that I wanted to do, all of the things that I wanted to accomplish. And instead of doing those things, I would hop on social media looking for something that I was never going to get. And this sort of this evolved into something as social media has evolved. And honestly, it became a depression. And you can find a ton of videos about this, TED Talks, what have you. Social media is depressing. It is like alcohol. It is a depressant, but it is addictive. There are so many people on social media. I guess it just depends on who you follow, but even then, I had two Twitter accounts. I had my main my Darkovika gaming account, where I followed a whole lot of artists and I followed a lot of YouTubers, and honestly, it was nothing but depression. And when I quit, we shall see. I will get to the actual what I've quit and how I have quit, which is not necessarily 100%. Like, I access social media from my computers, but I don't have it on my phone, which is the problem. But anyways, social media is just, it has become a wall of nonstop depression. It is people raging against other people. I had a thought process and I'm pretty sure I didn't finish it, but you know what? That is just par for the course for me. So I'm just going to go with this thought process. People are constantly at each other's throats on Twitter. I don't know if it's just the people that I personally followed. Oh yeah, I had two Twitter accounts. I'll get to that. Again, I remember my other thought process, but I don't know if it was just the people that I followed on my main account, which was my Darkovika gaming account, but like, I started even though I followed just artists because I really like art and I really like seeing creative people, I really was not seeing a whole lot of art in my timeline, and I follow a lot of people on Twitter. And I started to realize that people get caught up in the culture of social media, which really does revolve around just looking for problems and attacking them. And I don't know if it's because Tumblr dissolved into Twitter and Twitter's becoming the new Tumblr. I was never a Tumblr person. I think I had an account on Tumblr that I used for about 5 minutes, and then I found a person who was talking about how they wanted to murder people for the color of their skin, and I was like, yo, I'm out. And I never went back to Tumblr again. So, that's my Tumblr experience. That was the one social media I didn't get addicted to. But in Twitter, I had a second Twitter account, and this is how I really became aware of how much of a depressant at least Twitter is. And I'll get to Facebook and I'll get to Instagram. Twitter for me was I don't know, there was something very intimate about Twitter because I felt like people could actually see you, even though I have no evidence that people ever actually saw me because my tweets had no likes, which is not to say anything about you guys, because if my tweets have no likes, there's probably a reason for that. But it's one of those things where it makes you feel like it's intimate. The second Twitter account that I had was a writer Twitter account, and that is because a lot of authors today say that to become an author, like established author, it's important to have a Twitter account. So I thought, well, okay, I will make a Twitter account because by this point, my Darkovika gaming account was very, I don't want to say established, like it was an existing account where I already followed like 400 accounts. And I didn't want to clean out my Darkovika gaming account because that is another thing that you will find on Twitter. There are a lot of tweets about people who are shaming others for not following. Okay, hang on. Side note, hopefully I don't forget what I was talking about. There is a crazy obsession with number counting on Twitter that I just do not understand. I don't watch my numbers. Maybe that's because I'm a nobody and I don't have numbers to watch. Like the only number I watch is the amount of tweets that I would post because that number was astonishingly high for how few followers I had on Twitter. It is amazing how many tweets I have considering I have like what 300 followers, and I'm 100% positive at least half of them are bots and at least half of the remainder no longer use Twitter. So there you go. But on writer Twitter especially, I see a lot of people who just obscenely follow their numbers, and people will guilt the hell out of you for unfollowing. It is really weird. Sometimes you do not mesh with a person that you thought you would mesh with, so you unfollow. Sometimes you are simply cleaning out who you followed. You don't remember this person. Maybe their most recent tweets don't resonate with you. You unfollow them. Some people will message you about why you unfollowed them. They will download a list of their followers and compare each week to see who has left them and then go I swear to God, I wish I could be making this up. It's insane. And they will guilt the hell out of you. And it is so weird that people become so obsessed, especially on writer Twitter, because I get writer Twitter is a numbers game, but then people get really weird about it. When they get really high numbers, they start being like, okay, I'm going to stop following people because I'm an established author. But no, that's not necessarily true. It's a follow for follow thing on writer Twitter. And that means that people are not really following you for your personality, which sounds really mean, but I know for sure that's not why they followed me. I have more people that I have on my writer Twitter account that follow me than on my Darkovika gaming account. And that's because I do those follow chains and I do the follow for follow games. Why? Because some publishers will not publish you unless you have a certain amount of followers. So this is part of writer Twitter culture, is just the follow for follow mechanic, because they want to see that you have those numbers. They don't care how you get the numbers, at least I think. That may change as, publishers wise up to the fact that we are literally just doing follow chains. So when people start being like, I joined this for the interactions, and it's like, no, you joined this for the numbers. But that's like a whole other thing, right? Like people get very depressed in writer Twitter because they have these really big numbers, but no one actually interacts with them. And that is because everyone has. You'll notice in writer Twitter, someone who has 20,000 followers is also following roughly 20,000 people. So that is a Twitter feed of 20,000 tweets. It is impossible to really get to know people when you follow that many people. And yes, this is a flaw in the system of writer Twitter. If you want an account where you can be personal with people, then you're gonna need to make another account, because you cannot be a writer Twitter account looking for numbers so you can become a publisher and also want that interaction. It's very difficult. But I was actually fairly active in my writer Twitter account, and I liked seeing people's tweets. I'm a scroll fanatic. I will sit and scroll for literally hours. I am not, literally is being used real here. Literally hours. Just scroll, okay? And I would read people's tweets. Here's where I started to realize that this is really, 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 really bad for not just me, but for a lot of people, especially creatives. People are not meant to be surrounded by so much talent. And I say that with the greatest of love. People should not be surrounded so constantly by talent that is so far above their own. Yes, it is good to be exposed to talent, but to constantly be reminded that you are not those people is extremely damaging. And I don't think that's something that people understand with social media. It's especially true in art. Here's the dealio. I can see someone who posts art every single day that is far and above anything that I will ever create. Here's the problem. I cannot see how long it took them to get there. All I see is a drawing that someone made in one day that would take me weeks to ever get remotely close to. And yes, I can tell myself it took them years to be able to do that, but that is not a concept that I can actually grasp as a person. And someone can say, "Oh, I grasp it," but I mean, do you? Because it is a concept. It is something that you cannot touch and feel. Is this person's experience? You can't see it. You've never experienced that. It is not something that you can take part in. There's no VHS tape showing you how many years that person did, how their drawings changed every single day, literally the hours they poured into it. You are just telling yourself that. And in so doing, you are also telling yourself that you have not done that many hours, and you will never do that many hours because you can never catch up. It is this idea that humans, a lot of humans, obviously, I can't be so broad as to say all humans, are inherently competitive. We want to be the best. And again, I'm not saying every human. There's going to be that one person in the comments go, excuse me, not me. Okay, yeah, thank you. You're not like other girls. But not everyone is designed, as we are so competitive, to be presented always with work that is better than theirs. It is so good to be inspired. But at the same turn, you have to disconnect and use that inspiration instead of just feeding constant better work into yourself for hours in a day. Now, obviously, hopefully, people are not using social media in the way that I was, which is just constant. It's just like a drip feed straight into my veins for an entire day. I'm bored. I didn't even know this got here. That's my life. I didn't even know this got here. Like, when I removed all the social media off of my phone, it was seriously 2 weeks of me just like absentmindedly picking up my phone and unlocking it without realizing, and already looking for the social media apps. And I was like, this is a problem. I was like, I need to do something. The other thing that really made me realize that this was affecting my mentality and also just the way that I view myself is because before I got married, my husband proposed to me on a Disney cruise. We went on a cruise. If you want to use the internet on the cruise, you pay exorbitant amounts of money. You pay God, I don't even remember. We did like a test run, which I regret, to see just how much internet you get. It's gone in 5 minutes and you pay a stupid amount of money. And we were like, wow, that was an insane waste. You couldn't even do a phone call with what you get. You're not meant to use the internet unless you're a billionaire. It's just, no, you're not meant to. And honestly, it was the happiest I'd been in a long time. I was completely disconnected from the world. And for once, I felt like a single human being. And those artworks you see where people have like plugs, right? And like eyeballs or something staring at them from screens. It's that. And when you are finally disconnected, you realize, oh my God, they actually can't see me and I am a single person. I am not connected. And that's a great thing. And obviously, there are people that you can only talk to on the internet, and I'm not really referring to that. I'm talking about the harmful effects of social media. I'm not talking about I use Facebook to talk to people that I wouldn't be able to talk to, and I totally get that because same. But that's another thing. Facebook. I don't know. Facebook has changed in weird ways. I can post to Facebook. My Facebook is private, and I only have people that I know on there. I do not add people that I don't know in real life. I only add people that I've known in high school, college, work. Not really work. I don't add people from work on there usually. And when I post, I get 3 likes. And I have quite a decent amount of friends on Facebook. I get 3 likes. And I know for sure I do not see everyone that I follow. And I know that there are settings for this, but kind of feels like you're just stuck on an island. And I can't change other people's settings. So that means that no one will ever see what I post for whatever reason. And it just you feel like you're on an island. You can't really talk to people. And I have Facebook Messenger. I will say that because there are actually people that I can't talk to in real life without the help of the internet. So I do have Facebook Messenger. I need that. But I got rid of Facebook. I got rid of Instagram. Instagram's another weird one. I liked Instagram because it kind of felt like a photo diary, right? Like I could share photos of my life, and I actually do go through sometimes on my did go through on my Instagram to take a look at photos that I had, and I would get really nostalgic. And that was a really good thing. I actually really enjoyed that part of Instagram. But as far as social media goes, it also feels a bit like an island. Nobody really ever sees your stuff. And if you're connected with people that you know in real life, like on Facebook, again, nobody ever really sees your stuff. And then you wind up following the most bizarre accounts. Like, sometimes I see posts on my Instagram and I'm like, when did I follow this person? Like, I was following Cole Sprouse and I was like, okay, I like the Sprouse brothers, but why? When did I follow Cole Sprouse? And why? And then I was like, who even is on my Instagram? I'm like following like over 100 people or something, and I don't even know half of them. Definitely over 100, for sure. I'm following more people than are following me. I know that for a fact. So my biggest thing was that there are a lot of voices in social media, and not all of them agree. And what winds up happening is you see these opinions that you want to respect, especially political opinions about how you should treat people and how you should talk to people, but they don't always match. They don't always mesh. They have the best intentions, but they are formed from people who have vastly different experiences, and those start to clash against you, and it's not healthy. I got to a point where I hated myself and I hated my writing because according to people who wrote science fiction, I wrote like shit. According to people who write romance, I write like shit. I was trying to, this is obviously related to my writer Twitter account. I was following so many different people with so many different clashing ideas about how to be a good writer. I could not actually take any of it in because I would take in a concept and then someone else would say something that would clash immediately with that concept. The two would fight with each other, and then I would sit and look at my writing and not be able to figure out, well, is this good or not? This person says yes, this person says no. It must just be bad. So I have trashed so many work in progresses. And I'm beginning to understand why truly successful people do not actually use Twitter. They just sort of one and done, and they don't actually stay on Twitter, and they're not actually active, because you would go mad listening to the amount of opinions that exist on social media, and you would never do anything. And I think watching people on Twitter, on writer Twitter especially, that is what has happened to people who started out looking for inspiration and like-minded individuals. They became trapped, seeking validation that they will never ever get, because that validation is going to be canceled out by someone else saying the exact opposite of the person who just validated you. So, ultimately, I think social media is Satan. And I think it should be done in small bursts. I went on Twitter the other day on my computer, not on my phone, and I refuse to even do it in the browser. I will not. Oh yes, I have a picture of Errol Flynn as Robin Hood as my background, because I'm a nerd. But I will not, absolutely no. I will not open it up on my phone, not through browser, not through app, not through anything, because the fact that it is in the palm of my hand is the issue. I rarely use social media on my computer. I don't know what the difference is. It's not as interesting to me once it is on the computer. I guess because I'm like, I could be playing a video game right now. And let's be honest, app games suck ass. But, yeah, on my phone, I have no social media. When I was on Twitter the other day on my computer, there was a moment where I was like, I want to scroll through for a second. My God, I was instantly barraged by just depression and bad news and people talking about death and it was awful. It was just a wave of anger and I was like, oh, wow, okay. That's a feeling that I don't miss, is just this heavy weight that smashes you and it stays on you because you are carrying weight for people who don't even know you exist. That is the other thing, is just this barrage of news, because Twitter is just like any media outlet, smashing things that it thinks will grab your attention in your face. Let's not even talk about clickbait articles, because my God, I want to shoot myself every time I see, obviously that was an inappropriate reference, but you get my drift. But every time I see those stupid articles that are like, why did they... You know what? That's a whole other conversation, talking about articles, because that will be a rant, because I hate internet articles. Anyways, yeah, that is my story about social media, and I thought I would share it with you all to get your insight and your input and maybe save some lives, because social media was a really great idea. Connecting people across the world and being exposed to interesting ideas. I don't think it turned out the way we wanted it to. It's just basically a really large version of 4chan, and I don't think anyone should be logged into 4chan as much as we are all logged into social media. So, if you see me post on Twitter, it's fine. I'm not posting from my phone. I may still post to my writer Twitter account, just so that it is active and I could post, updates about where I am in my work in progress. I am feeling good about myself again, because I am slowly trying to undo the damage that I have done to my writing, by just becoming such a harsh judge against myself. I cannot be what I cannot be. I am literally what I am. The only way to become better is to just simply write, and taking in thousands of voices of people with differing opinions was destroying my creativity. I was becoming so zombie-like with everything. The other day, literally 2 days before I recorded this, I wrote 8,000 words in a day. I've never done that. I liked most of it. And the parts that I disliked were only a vague dislike. They were not like, wow, this is garbage, I hate it, and I should never write anything ever again. It wasn't that. It was just me writing for the enjoyment of it. And I am being very careful not to read anything on Writer Twitter, even though I am posting there, because it is literally just the destruction of creativity. To see so many people sharing, first of all, to see, and this sounds bad, to see people who are successful when you are not, in small doses, it can be very inspiring. In very large doses for a very prolonged amount of time, it makes you feel like shit. And it makes you wonder why you are not as good as them, why you have not achieved what they have achieved. How can they have done it and you have not? Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. All right, guys, before I go on another tangent and just keep saying the same thing over and over and over again, all 5 of you who watch this, let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm joking. I am very, very grateful to the 30 to 60 of you who do constantly watch my videos. I really, 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 really appreciate you so freaking much. It means a lot to me. It really does. I see you. I feel you. Thank you. And thank you for watching this video, guys. I love you all. Please be safe during this quarantine. And hopefully this filter that I have applied to my videos to try to make them seem not quite so depressing is bearable to look at. I'm doing a lot of tests, okay? We'll see how it goes. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.